So I'm really happy to have two wonderful photographers coming from us from Oregon tonight. And
Oh,
so we're very happy about that. I want to thank Profoto Daily, Epson, Photo Shelter, American Photography, and B&H Photo for always helping us out in a variety of ways. And tonight we have Teresa Meier and Carly Nelson who will be presenting. So you guys, and they are actually side by side, so that's going to make the technology piece really easy. And you guys share your screen and we will get started with Carly Nelson. Okay.
here. No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Just these ones? Yep. Okay. Hey, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Carly Nelson. I've been taking photographs since really I was a teenager, but I've just kind of been doing my own thing. And last semester I took Teresa's class, and yeah, she's really helped me with being able to figure out how to use my camera, be more thoughtful in what I'm looking at or wanting to take pictures of. And yeah, the majority of what I have been taking is my family.
Great.
How many kids do Oh, yeah, I have 5 kids.
You have five kids.
I do. Yes.
Wow. Okay. You're already a hero.
Uh,
Or,
yes.
or crazy.
Oh, Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, this is from when I only had my oldest, and he was just little. It's He's 22 now, but he was probably not quite 2 in this picture. And then these are my 2 oldest, jumping up a little bit farther in time, just at our local park. This was their favorite place to go. And I moved a lot as a kid, and I didn't really have much of a community to kind of remind me of stuff of when I was a kid. So pictures have always kind of been my way of being able to kind of preserve having that community and those memories. And this is 3 of my kids and one of their friends on our front porch. They absolutely loved our front porch. We would spend hours on there.
So Carly, I mean, you were
Mhm.
always shooting, right? I mean, you're now shooting over 20 years, 25 years, whatever,
Yes.
right? That number. And what has Teresa taught you that's new as it relates to as you continue to shoot?
One is that I didn't really know. Most of these are done in auto. I was really struggling with trying to break out into manual. And even though her class didn't center around teaching me that, it still gave me a lot of opportunities to really push myself to get outside of that. So I learned that. And then two, with the documentary, just being more kind of thoughtful. And that's a lot of the time I would take a lot of photos, but just kind of thinking more of intention of like, let's think before we keep clicking
Mm.
and yeah, I just kind of just shot everything. It's kind of in the dark of like, okay, hopefully one of those looks good. Where now I'm being more thoughtful with that.
And always shooting black and white?
No, I do shoot color, but when it comes to pictures of my kids, I don't know. I just really love the black and white quality.
Great. Okay. Mm.
And yeah, just bath time, just having fun with the different angles and reflections. And this is my youngest right when we first got pets, because I held out for a really long time that I didn't want pets.
I
And
can't
it was,
understand that. Four kids and you don't want pets too?
oh, well, and now we have five pets. So each kid had to have their own pet.
And how old is your oldest now and how old is your youngest?
My oldest is 22 and my youngest is 13.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is right after we got our first puppy and one of our kittens. And I just really like, I do sew a lot. And so for a long time, I was taking a lot of posed pictures for promotion for patterns or fabric. And I just personally really love getting them in the moment rather than the posed looks. And then this was the start of me in Teresa's class.
It is really amazing that you could see that instantaneously. Something happened,
Yes.
right? Yeah, you could see that. Okay.
Now, I don't remember what the assignment was on this one, but we had gone out for a walk, and that's just the kids enjoying walking around a lake. And this is my oldest, and just them being in their bedroom. And a lot of the times they don't really let me take pictures of them anymore. So I was really excited to be able to get a few.
Age appropriate.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then it's during my time. My husband works retail and his schedule has been crazy all over the place. And there's been a few times where he's done night shifts over the years. And when we moved from Utah here to Oregon, he was out here by himself for 8 months while we tried to sell our house.
And what does he do, Teresa? Carly?
He works, he's a manager at Walmart.
Warm. Okay.
Yeah, but it just his hours are always crazy. And then just with us being separated from him for so long, it's started trying to make sure that the kids get one-on-one time with him. And so this was one of their times that they just got to sit and talk to each other about what was going on that day, that week.
And how do you share all the imagery with the kids?
Yes. Yep. There's some that they asked me not to share. One child in particular, they're like, do not share.
What's her name?
Avery.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so they're very much a big part of my photography. Just even when I would take pictures promoting fabrics, that was always okay, do any of you like these patterns? Do any of you like these fabrics? Would you want me to make something? Because part of that is that you're going to be taking pictures. And so they'd always kind of rotate of like, yeah, I want that enough that I'll take pictures for it.
It's great to have subjects all the time, right?
Yes. Yep.
Sometimes.
And this gives them all a little break that they don't feel like mom is just watching me with under a microscope.
This is Avery.
Nope, this is my daughter Paisley. She's my second to the youngest. And she's quite a character. She has a very strong sense of who she is as a person, and I love it.
Great.
And this is my youngest. And up until last year, I was his most favorite person in the world. And now he hates me. So, so I
Sounds
thought,
like you have really normal kids.
yes, yes. But I thought this picture was really kind of fit the moment because I kind of feel like now I have to watch him behind a wall
Mm.
because he's just not. He's like, nope, you don't get to hear about my day. You don't get to hear about that. I'm like, oh, come on.
So Carly, as you go through these photographs, there's sort of the before and after,
Yes.
right? And how does that feel for you? Do you look at the early photographs as something I could have done better or I could have done different? Yeah, explain that. How does that make you feel?
Very much so. There's a lot of stuff that I know that I missed or that I know that I'd be able to go about it in a different way that it would have made it a lot better, maybe a lot more memorable.
But
Just,
isn't that part of like that's who I was then and this is
yeah,
who I am now, right? I mean,
yes,
I'm there's so many everyone's a photographer here mostly. And you go through that, it becomes like sort of your period piece
yes.
without regrets.
Yeah, and I'm honestly quite proud of some of the stuff that I did before,
Mm.
of just feeling like I was bumbling around and not really knowing what to do.
Everyone could raise their hand to that, right?
Yes.
Wow.
This was one of my other children with their dad. And then this one was a assignment with my other class, and I was kind of doing it on the bike trails. And so this child, Paisley, they were my little buddy that they would ride the trail with me back and forth to take pictures.
Mm.
And this was her protesting of I can't ride any farther. And yeah, just in their bedrooms. Um, we have a very small house and lots of people, and everybody wants their own space. And so our makeshift way on that is putting up the Kallax shelves in between. So they each kind of it feels more like their own space. But then my youngest is like, the cats keep coming into my room. And this one just in our yard. They're the one that they love me taking pictures of them the most.
In that space.
Works for me. And then yeah, my kids love the park. That's always been like a really good memory. Where we lived for the majority of their lives, the park was only a couple blocks away. So that was just kind of a ritual of that every night, about half an hour before they had bedtime, we'd go up to the park and they just play.
Mm.
And they're a little sad now that they're getting older and people are not as nice about them being at the park. But it makes me happy that they still love the park.
Mm. And where are you as it relates to shooting other people, shooting other stories? Do you have things percolating?
I don't yet. That's something that I still need to work on because I just thinking of consent. There are some times that I'll get pictures of other people that's out in the public, and then I'm like, oh, but maybe I should have. I know I couldn't have asked them in the moment because either like I'm in a car or they're on a vehicle. But I try to ask as much as I possibly can.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll put on my teacher's hat for a second. You got to make yourself uncomfortable,
Yes.
right? To ask those questions, to find a way, to do it. It'll only open up more doors for you once you get it down.
Yes,
You did that project at Joanne's.
I
Yeah, the
did.
Saturday market.
For my midterm, I tried to do it on, I was working at Joanne's, and for them closing, I tried to photograph other people and kind of get their stories on how it was going to affect them.
Right. Okay, great. Mm.
And this one was them putting my bike together because I finally bought a bike. Just another one at the park. And I just like getting them of like every day, kind of them in their own places.
And is any one of them more engaging than the others,
Um,
or depending upon the day and the mood?
oops. I think it's depending on this one, definitely. She's almost always up for me taking pictures. Um, this one, it depends on the day. He's actually, since I started taking the photography classes, he's really pushed and has been really, really interested. So we got him his own camera, and he's been nonstop taking pictures for the last couple months.
Right.
So that's been really fun to see him really take an interest in it. This one on the right, they're the one that is the least engaging in wanting to take pictures. Even though the one like doesn't want me posting, they usually say yes a lot more than this one does.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
this is just the last picture.
Yeah.
It's just a, yeah,
No, that's
I don't know
terrific.
what to say.
So, can you ever get the five of them together, or the six of them together to do
Yes.
a family portrait and have fun with that as well, right?
Yes, the only downside to that was one of them was like, I do not want my pictures since this is going on YouTube. Please do not post the pictures. So I was like, oh, there's some really good ones. Like, a
Mm.
couple years ago we had a trampoline and there was some really fun ones of just them jumping and having fun together that I was able to capture.
Great. Well, that's all, really nice work, and you could see how you're moving along like in such a short period of time, from that one image, in the hallway, really changed it, it feels like, totally different. And do you recognize like you can never go back now,
Yeah.
creatively, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's a wonderful thing, right? I mean, for all of us. Well, thank you for that, Carly. Stick around. I'm sure we'll have some questions, afterwards. But now
Thank
we get the teacher.
you. Yes.
And Teresa has been with us, once 2 or 3 years ago, huh, Teresa?
Yeah, it has been, I think maybe three. It's been a
Really?
while. I
Okay.
can't time. I don't know.
Frank, I'm pretty sure
It was
Teresa's
just
been with us three
yesterday.
times.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Teresa, it's all yours.
Okay, so whoops. Let's get to full screen here. Maybe.
It disappeared.
There we go. Okay.
Great.
Um, so this is a project from 2020. I was living in Seattle when we went into lockdown in, March, April. And um the project, so the circumstances were for me, I had just moved to Seattle. My partner and I, the couple of years prior, had been on the East Coast. We'd been in Massachusetts. We'd been caring for his mom, who was terminal, and she died. Um, and so we prior to that, we'd been living in Oregon. And so it was just, we were dealing with grief, being dislocated. And then my partner got this job with Amazon. And so we moved to Seattle. And suddenly, we went from making, collectively, like, because we were caretaking, we were doing just odd jobs online. I was doing transcription work, editing, doing closed captions for videos, and we were making like $20,000 a year or something, just um, because a majority of our time was just spent caring for his mom. And so we went from that to suddenly he had this job at Amazon, making $250,000.
Wow.
Yeah, no, so it was very just suddenly everything was completely different. We're in Seattle, whole new neighborhood. We're in this beautiful house. Um, and it was all very odd, just that part. And we moved there, I think September of 2019. And so, we're still adjusting, we're still grieving. It's all very just odd, right? Um, and because he got this job, he said, I want you to just focus on your art. And so suddenly now I could just make art and I could just focus on this, which I'd never been able to do, right? It was always a struggle. It was always like, get it in when I can, wake up at 5 a.m. and make sure I get this done. And, in between working just whatever jobs I could find. Um, and so I was finally kind of starting to get my bearings in Seattle in early March. And, luckily when we were in Massachusetts, I did get a lot of support from the creative community while we were there. We were in Harvard, Mass, in central Massachusetts, really teeny tiny town. And Paula at the Griffin Museum of Photography, um, met with her, and she was super supportive, loved my work, um, and offered to do a solo show. I was able to help run workshops. I worked with Fran Foreman, which was super fun. I got to do some modeling for her and go out and do shoots. And then there was an art community in Concord that I contacted and, let them know my situation, and they gave me a free studio space. So I was able to, I had this, beautiful studio and just a really supportive community. So I was able to still kind of create work and network or, just be around creatives while I was there. So I was slated for my first solo show at the Griffin Museum of Photography in April of 2020.
Mm.
And so it's
Perfect.
March, and I'm getting ready to send stuff to the printer and getting ready to ship stuff over. And I don't know if you remember, but my other body of work, the prints are very large, 48 inches by 72 inches. And
Oh, damn.
Paula said, I'm going to frame them, just let's get your work up. Um, and so as we're, getting ready to ship stuff over, things start happening in King County. And I said, Paula, something's happening. And I'm not quite sure what it is, but I don't know if the printer is going to be open next week. And she was like, what are you talking about? I don't understand. And I was like, this COVID thing, something's going on. And she was like, no, you know what? Let's keep it on schedule. Don't worry about it. Send it out. And of course, within a week or two, we all know what happened. Um, so show's canceled, and I'm just watching the news, and it was very it was really odd. I felt very kind of like a fraud in this house. And suddenly we had money, and my partner, with Amazon, he was able to work from home. So ultimately, like we were fine financially. It didn't impact us the way it did a lot of other people. So that also felt, odd, just watching everything happen. Um, so I just, now we're in lockdown. We're stuck in our house. We can't go anywhere. So I just started making this work, and it was, more just it was cathartic. And it was more just to kind of do something with myself and, just ease the anxiety. And Seattle is typically really gray, but during this time it was beautifully sunny. So that was even odder. And we're in a neighborhood in Ballard, and you could just feel like the tension and anxiety in the air. And suddenly, like, everyone's in the neighborhood during the day, but, we'd go outside and there's this beautiful park where you could watch the sunset. And the whole neighborhood would migrate up there in the evening, but, everyone's kind of like, don't come near me. Like, everyone's keeping their distance. So it's like, we're together, but stay away from me. So it's just this very, very odd. Um,
And,
so
and your husband is full game into helping you with these images.
Yeah, for the most part, he was just like, I mean, he wasn't necessarily, he never asked questions. He was just like, "Yeah, what do you want me to do? Where do you need me to stand?" Uh, so he was very acquiescent, but it was never like, "What's this about? What are you working on? What are you doing?" Like he was just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. How long can you speed this up? How long do I need to stand here?" But yes, he was anything I asked of him, he was like, "Yeah, okay." Um, so I kind of took the opportunity to just really explore the materials I had at hand. Um, this house is not that big, and it was not this, it did not look this nice all the time. So I was constantly rearranging furniture and, taking most things out of a room and pushing him into a corner, and he'd walk in and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, "It's fine, I'll fix it. Just let me do what I'm doing." I
And
kind
so,
of
Teresa, the new house, the new surroundings created a whole bunch of new opportunities, right? I mean, it's like all your house became like a new studio
Exactly.
with
Yeah,
all
that
the
was
props
it.
in there and all of it.
Yeah. And I would just move stuff around. I would pull out just different fabrics, kind of just different those, I was just like kind of like a little kid, just kind of playing. Um,
And how did it make you feel like, dare I say, the world's coming to an end and you've got this great space to shoot. It's all new, like you were sprinkled with, beautiful dust.
yeah, yeah. It was very disparate, right? Like I was like, well, I have nothing else to do, and I feel like I should do something to occupy my time. Um, and so it was just a way for me to work through the process of everything I was feeling, everything I was reading, everything I was seeing on the news. And at the same time, while a lot of people felt suddenly very disconnected, I was suddenly like, everyone that I had been working with suddenly was like, "Oh, free Zooms." And suddenly I was meeting with people all the time, just via Zoom. Whereas normally I'm just kind of working alone, making my work. So it was almost like I was seeing people more often, though not in
But
person.
there was this alternative world that you didn't know about, right?
Right, right. So a lot of it was, just kind of creating these sets and scenes that sort of, reveal these feelings. And obviously, we were going through grief and a lot of different things still too. So it was just a way to
Hmm.
express what I was
Love
feeling. I've got some
and
shots.
yeah, just give us a little sense of creatively what we're visualizing.
Um, so like, it's that duality of like, it's dark, things are not good. Um, but I'm making this work out of hope for humanity, just in myself that we could get through this, that I hope, hopefully humans are resourceful and just kind of clinging to that. Like, yeah, this is looking real bad, but hopefully we can pull through it.
And did his mom pass from COVID as well?
No, she passed from cancer
Yes.
in 2018.
Okay.
And I'll go through after we kind of look through. I think I made 10 ultimately during the month. Um, and so a lot of it, the stuff I was reading in the news, so the dolphins here, there was a lot of just kind of odd headlines where it was like, "Oh, dolphins returned to the Venice Canal." And then you found out that that was just a hoax and people were just like putting stuff out there that wasn't true. And kind of how that impacted people of like this like sense of false hope that there was something good happening, but no, actually someone just made it up.
Right. And I mean, and you're working with so many different lights, different from last time, right?
Yeah.
So is
So,
that part discovery, part test? Like, what was the metamorphosis for that?
well, so when I was, initially just in my home, I kind of just sat and would watch the light move through the house. And then I started organizing, the sets around how the light moved through my house. So that was like an interesting exercise, I guess. And I was limited. I think I was doing this with a 50 millimeter lens,
Mm,
and I was in small spaces. So I was having to be creative in how I was able to put these together. So I'm taking multiple photos, and this one in particular. So because I'm so close, I was doing focus stacking and then also stitching, I don't know, 50 photos together. But I really liked how I got that fishbowl effect. And I thought that, really felt apt for kind of being trapped in a house during this time.
And the stitching is something you're comfortable with from the previous presentation, right? That's right up your alley.
Yeah, exactly.
And the cats are always, the first on the set, huh?
They're always on set. They're pretty funny. When I get on my tripod, they get all excited. They're like, yeah, what are we gonna go do?
Yeah. Okay.
This was, COVID came from tigers. There was that headline. So I was reading the news and then just, getting ideas for imagery.
And your roommate has a lot of patience,
I guess so.
especially now when I see this shot. Man, my God, it's great.
Um, yeah, we'll end with sort of the making of this shot. And I hadn't watched it in a while, and I was like, oh yeah, this was definitely the end of lockdown.
Okay.
Um, so this is some shots to kind of show, the multiple shots that I would take, and then I would stitch these together in Photoshop.
Hmm. And
Um,
how long would say that last shot that you showed us take to put together?
The last one, yeah, this was the final one I did, and it was kind of inspired. It was when Trump was just, I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh, our government's a total circus. And I was like, well, I can do a better circus than that. And just kind of decided like, okay, I need to have a little fun. And just started making just weird stuff and setting this up in the yard and yeah.
Hmm.
So that one's titled A Better Circus.
That's so shed a little skin on how it was to all of a sudden, this really nice check comes in every second week, right? I mean, and how that transformed your creativity, and was it liberating just in the practical sense or in an emotional sense as well?
It was, and that's why, when I was doing this, I just started experimenting. I am a multimedia artist, and so I'll play this to kind of show you a little bit about what went into creating this little backdrop here, and
Great.
um, yeah.
Is there sound?
It's just music.
I wasn't hearing anything.
I don't know how to make it work. I'll just talk about it. Um, So this is an extinct butterfly that I started drawing to put up on the wall for the image. And I wanted it to look, very old, antiqued. And I wanted it to be in this multi sectional piece. I wanted it to look like this, pinned on the wall butterfly, like you see, how when animals get put in or insects get put in a box, they're all pinned in
Yeah.
there. Um, so just experimenting with staining paper, building, a somewhat large drawing and, how to piece it all together. Um, so it was, that kept me busy for a week.
So without without this influx of money, right? In a practical sense, some of these things you couldn't have done. Would that
Probably
be?
not. I mean, I'm pretty resourceful.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So I probably would have figured something out. But yeah, having money helps for
Yeah.
sure.
And
Um,
not to feel bad about that. That's great.
no,
Great.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so this is this is the image that, initially how it got stitched together. This is the actual view from the bedroom, and you can see like some of the geometry wouldn't quite work out, so I had to do some retouching and then
Right.
a lot of color grading and compositing, everyone in.
Right.
So this is kind of, one of the
Where we
early
start.
stages of it. Then same with the back porch. Um, this one was pretty tricky. I was in the corner, so it was kind of a not like 180-degree view. Um, I used a gold um, reflector and photographed myself in the sun to get that sort of like glowing effect on the skirt. And then, with the cats, it's kind of just waiting for them to get into a pose that I want to use. And then getting all the other elements, the plants, and even, like here, the lights, they weren't quite as big as I wanted them to be, so I ended up enlarging those and photoshopping them back in. And then just doing a lot of color grading at the end to get the light balance the way I want it.
So, I mean, in some way, was COVID, a positive that gave you this, this time to really focus on your work?
I mean, yeah, it was, my work for me has always been cathartic. It's
Yeah.
always been a way for me to sort of process what's happening in the world. Um, and, oftentimes I'll make an image and I don't really understand what it means until it's done. And then it almost like hits me in the face and I'm like, oh, that's what I'm feeling.
Tell us about Rocky.
Um, This is family raccoons that would roll through the fence. Um, so they would come through often, and I was always pretty careful with them. I didn't want to freak them out, but I had a big picture window, so I managed to catch a few shots of them for the circus. Ooh, where is it? Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Okay,
I know
so
it was
this
back a
is the
few slides.
circus bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the raccoons that got composited in here, and they were just cruising through. They would hang out in the yard.
So, a
Okay.
shot like this, when do you know I got it? Like enough? Like that always intrigues me, from an artist standpoint. Like I get, like I don't need anything else, or I've put too much in. Like, how do you determine that?
You know, it's especially with composites, a lot of it is a lot of times I'll throw like kind of I try not to limit myself and I'll throw a bunch of stuff in and then it's just a matter of like taking things out. And
Mm.
then getting everything like in where I want it balanced, like, oh, does that need to be bigger? Does that need to be smaller? What am I saying here? And how is this impacting that? So it's like a puzzle. It's really just like, okay, trying to get everything just in the right spot.
And
Um,
and will you share that thinking with someone with your partner? What do you think? Is there anyone that you go to, or is it all just you in that context?
um, a lot of times it's just me. I do have a photography group now that I meet with monthly, and it's invaluable. So I do now have a group of professional photographers that I can say, hey, I'm working on this. How's this looking? So I am able to kind of have that group that I can go to now. And that's been just that actually, I think, started during COVID.
Yeah, everyone
So
needed.
that is really helpful. Okay, last video. This one's fun.
Okay.
Hey. So I guess you guys can't hear the music, but imagine circus music. So I was just building props, just like just trying to ease tension, explore different mediums, just see what I could build, see what I could do.
So,
Um,
like putting this together, you already know something's going to jump through that.
yeah. So I knew I wanted to do a circus, and I was like, oh man, I need a flaming hoop, and towels is definitely gonna go through it. So it was, just kind of looking at old Barnum and Bailey posters,
Okay, so you would
and
do that for your research. That's yeah, wonderful.
yeah, yeah, I actually do a lot of research. My background is in neuroscience, so I actually
Okay.
really love research. Um, so I was looking, just at a lot of different circus stuff, and like, okay, what am I gonna throw out here?
Hmm.
And I could have composited a ring of fire digitally, but I was like, no, we're at our home. I want this to look like a homemade ring of fire.
Wow, that's the set. That's great. It's great to see it this way. Lets everyone know that there's really a process going on there.
Yeah, I think I had to do it a few times. I got it all set up and I didn't like things weren't quite I didn't quite get it. And so it was like, okay, we gotta do it again.
So now, when you're done with this and you show this to your partner, what's his reaction?
Um he was always just like, okay, cool.
He's a tech guy, huh?
He is a tech guy.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's wonderful. Absolutely.
But he would do a little acting for me.
Did he take direction well?
He did.
He-
Yeah, it was very much just what do you want me to do? Whoops.
Great.
Let's see.
Really, really great. And how long did that shot from idea to finish? How long? Your circus shot?
Um, so all of those, I I think I did all of those over April and May.
Okay.
So
All of them.
I like that's kind of all I did.
You were really cranking.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good way to just not freak out.
Right. And if anyone has any questions, raise your hand or just speak up. You could open it up, Jay, if anyone wants to ask a question for Carly or Teresa. So Carly, you look at this work from Teresa, and what does that do for you?
I want to come and collaborate with.
Okay,
I have a new model.
Yes.
that's right. There's the new model. You guys seem to have frozen for a second.
Well, I was just
Oh
wondering,
no.
All right, Arlene has a question. Arlene.
how did COVID change things for you, Carly?
Oh wow. A lot. My mom was one of the very first people to get COVID, and she wasn't sick enough to be in the hospital, but it was still bad enough that for at least 3 weeks we thought she was going to die.
Hmm.
Um, I lost two uncles. My brother was hospitalized. It was havoc, wreaking havoc, sorry. And then during COVID, my oldest was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And that just kind of sent us down a huge, I just say it's a black hole. Like that was, he was diagnosed on our anniversary. Um, and it just, yeah, it kind of took over our lives trying to figure out. We weren't given a very good prognosis. Um, because I mean, there were other reasons that we moved, but a big push for that was because of their diagnosis. Where we were living, the heat was really badly affecting them. And so it was kind of we knew that we'd be moving into somewhere that we weren't as financially stable, and that's been very scary. And then we moved away from family too, and just the dynamics of that. There's been good parts to that and also drawbacks to that of just how it's affected all of us. That, yeah, and then that was that my husband left when, I mean, not by choice, but just he got transferred out here for work and we were still trying to sell our house. And it was right as the market crashed. And so it just took forever to sell our house and that separation. I just feel I'm a completely different person than who I was. Just because it's okay, all of this is not so much, there's a lot more heaviness now than there was. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, the twists and turns of life are really intense. And then how you use that creatively, or it closes you down creatively, right? It's
It closed me down completely because I'd still take photographs a lot. That was pretty standard. And then because we were in lockdown, we weren't really going anywhere. And because I was head into researching, it just kind of overtook my life. So I wasn't really taking any pictures because it's okay, well, I've already taken pictures of the kids on their computers doing their schoolwork.
right.
I didn't have enough time. I backed out of all of my projects sewing wise because it's like I've got to figure out how is this going to affect my child's life. They were 18 and we had the week after being diagnosed, they graduated with their mechanics degree, but the nerve damage that had done, they just didn't have the energy now to really feel like they can have a career in because it's just too physically taxing.
Mm,
So just kind of trying to figure out, they went into depression, trying to help them, and it just, all my creativity left.
right.
So this going back to school has really been helping to draw
Right.
me out of that.
Getting into some kind of routine, right?
Mhm.
So, but we all face these different opportunities in life, right? Things come out of left field, like who knows that, you know, Teresa's going to end up in Oregon, right? I mean, like, how does that really happen? And all these different things, and how it's always interesting how folks like you guys channel this into your creativity, right? And know that and feel that it's right? I mean, like, how do you do that, Teresa?
Uh, I think I always have, honestly.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I had a pretty chaotic childhood, and I think that's why I started drawing. I mean, I started drawing when I was 5, and it was like, I'm the youngest of 7, so we didn't have, a lot of money or resources, and my brother, because I just colored and drew so much, I had like one coloring book. And so, because I have amazing siblings, my brother would trace the coloring pages for me so I would still have stuff to color.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a
Uh,
beautiful gesture that is.
right.
What a
Yeah.
good heart,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's something that an inclination I've always had, just as a way, I think, to relieve anxiety and stress. Is something I've always turned to. And just, I feel compelled to make things. I just always have, and I don't imagine I'll ever stop.
And in that context, for both of you, what's next?
You?
I, my brother, after I moved out here, because he did live in Portland. And shortly when we moved here, he moved to Washington. But he had worked at the library, and he's like, Oregon has a lot of programs that if you want to go back to school, it will help you. And so I started doing that. And I think it was a week before school started that I finally got the email saying, you've been approved for these grants. And so I was grateful because Teresa's class still had availability. I was like, yes, because photography has always been a big part of my life. And I really wanted to break out of shooting in auto. So that was kind of like, yes, that this is my first
So what
push.
are you going to shoot next, Carly?
Oh,
You know?
I don't yet.
Okay.
That's yeah, I've kind of just been working on going to school. There is a challenge from one of my friends that they're doing called 36 Frames of Summer. So I've been trying to keep up with that they give us prompts each week
Okay.
so that I can still keep up. But yeah, it's
Good job.
I'm trying to still keep with going with college because I'm doing the summer courses and try and figure that out of which direction I want to take photography. Because I did join up so that I'm in with them and can meet with them once a month to kind of figure that out.
Well, and you're looking at transferring to U of O
Yep.
to do global studies.
Yes.
Great, 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 great. And our friend Teresa, what's up for you next? What are you shooting next? What
So,
give us
uh,
a secret.
so that's been my big, the sort of what I'm working on this summer. So I teach, I'm off contract for the summer. But it's been, so I've been teaching for two school years now. And it's just basically kind of taken over where I haven't had time to really focus on my own practice. And I've still, been sketching and just writing things down. And so I've been trying to just take the summer to kind of go back and review and get myself on something of a schedule where I am doing my own personal practice during the school year. So that's what I'm working on right now is just getting
Organized.
life balance.
Right. And does that make you antsy? Like not to be shooting?
It does. It does a lot. It actually, I feel like makes me a little bit angry a little bit.
Oh
Where
boy.
like, I have to I need to let it out. And if it stays in, like it goes bad, sort of.
And your husband your partner works later hours lately, right? Just to stay away.
Yeah, right.
We all have that partner at some point in our lives. Yeah, why don't you keep on working? I'll just stay late. Just as long as
Um,
he doesn't end up at a Coldplay concert, I think everything is okay.
yeah,
Trying to
right.
tie that back into when we started.
That would be a real turn.
Yeah. Oh, um,
That's the next inspiration.
yeah. Death by torture. So I can't thank you guys enough for doing this, especially doing it as a team. And yeah, as Teresa will attest to, the door is always open whenever you want to come back and you have new work. We always want to see if anyone has any last questions, shoot now. And yeah, thank you very much. And whoever's here, like I said before, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, we're going to have photojournalists who are covering the war in Ukraine. So for 3 nights, we'll be doing that, and tell your friends and on and on and on. But I really do appreciate you guys coming in and your friends. And this will be on YouTube, and we'll actually put it in two categories because we have a playlist pertaining to COVID directly, and we'll have it there, and we'll also have it under your names. So it'll be there, and You're part of our history now.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Really, thanks for doing this, and thanks for everyone coming in.